We talking about Christ. We talking about Kemet, and just a conversation we were just having on Instagram. I thought it would be a great topic today because there's a lot of topics that sometimes we don't get to cover. Um, and this is a interesting one. I think you really would love to would really need to participate in this conversation because if you wasn't on Instagram, this is the conversation we need to be having because I could tell a lot of people are waking up out of the dogma, out of the otherness and the separateness, and a lot of people are waking up from eating a lot of baby food, and some of the ideas that came up on the particular platform on Instagram about this, talking about, he was actually doing a video where he was talking about the morning star, and Jesus Christ says that he's Lucifer, and Lucifer being another word for morning star or whatever. So then he also has another video where he's also talking about how in the scripture Jesus also said that once again that he is the Amen in the book of Revelations. It talks about how Jesus Christ says that he is the Amen, and so he goes on to talk about that, and then also you see a lot of people in the comments started to talk about converting to Islam. Some people was mentioning that maybe it should be a good idea to convert to Islam. Saying, yeah, we knew that it was all about that we knew was about Heru, and they was talking about it just as something like it was a carbon copy. Then you had some other people talking about, well, it's all about consciousness, and he was showing you on how to move and not how to move in religion. So there was a lot of comments. Then it was seeming like there was some confusing comments. You had some people who were believers, and they were saying, I believe God, and now they was also starting to say they don't know what to believe because it sounded like there was all these mixed messages. So that's why I felt that me and you should have a talk about this situation. So with that being said, we did some research and found out that aside from the 2,000 years ago situation and vibration that happened, that this whole idea of resurrection is a very old concept. It's a very old concept, and I can't say because I wasn't there, but most people just believe because that's what we were taught. You have to believe in order to receive. Then there's another conversation out there because not one person can say that they were actually there when it happened. So in a nutshell, believing to some, I'm not saying it is, but to some perspectives, believing is doubting. And we should be knowing. So once again, I'm just going to give you 3 different ideas that can help you when we're talking about this particular subject. Once again, we're talking about Jesus Christ. Those who were talking about one should convert to Islam. So on this particular page, like I said, there was so much going on. And one of the people that was on the page, I was explaining that you need to believe, but don't mean that you need to start doubting. I mean, if I had to make a decision, I would say believe versus getting the idea of doubting. Just because other people on the page is not in agreement with you. But after we had a few talks about this because once again, from study and research, you start to see that it didn't start. This concept of resurrection didn't start 2,000 years ago. And we can't see that it didn't happen, but we also know that religion happened. We know calendars changed. These are the facts. We know the scribes changed things. That's a fact. We know that when people control or they want to control minds, sometimes they get in them 432s and changing them to the 440s. And then they got our people drinking 40s. And you know the rest. So this is why we got to change some things. Because this is very important when it comes to matters of the soul. So here's what I learned. One of the things that I learned is, and I'm grateful for my brothers and sisters who we talk about this. It either comes down to whether you going up or you going in. You going up or you going in when it comes to this knowledge. You know, you looking at the Jesus that's up, or you looking at the Jesus that's within. Some say. And another thing that I remind myself is, you're either going to be negative or you're going to focus on the positive. Some people that focus on the negative part, they feel they have the need to want to convert. This is not working. This is not the work. This is not what I signed up for. This is something else. And they felt they didn't get anything out of it, so they start converting. They think it's not working. All right? They think that it's something dealing with Rome. Now, we know Rome did do some things when it comes to Christianity. That's a fact. We know that all the major religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, got blood on their hands. That's a fact. The scripture is very clear about what the enemy came to do and how he's a liar. So to me, I just told you too. To me, we just got to be mindful of the worst, mindful of dogma. So like I said, that was a very interesting Instagram conversation. You see the speaker talking about Egypt. You see, the reality is this. They think about all the negative things. And they don't see nothing, the positive things, when it comes to history. Before they start changing ideas. So, once again, come back down to whether you going up or going out. If you're staying on the low frequency or you're staying on the high frequency. But thank y'all for sharing your thoughts with me in the comments. And we'll talk more about this. Appreciate you.